guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means the world to me. Thank you very, very, very much. And today we have another return guest, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome back the fantastic agent, Mildred Yuan. And Mildred is an agent, a motivational writer and speaker, finder of superpowers, a trained ballroom dancer, a Harvard and Cambridge grad, one of the leading agents and voices in guiding us through this period of AI, a lover of stories, helping clients, and a lover of the arts as a whole. It's a great welcome back. Mildred, how are you?
I'm so good. Thanks so much. I love coming back to podcasts that I've enjoyed coming on before. So thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you back. I remember we finished our conversation last year and I thought, right, we've got to start preparations for getting Mildred back on. And I know you've had a crazy time recently, so I really appreciate your time. So thank you. So the first question for part two guests is simply this. How have you been?
I've been really good. I mean, I'm really happy that we're getting a proper summer this year. I know, having lived in this country for over 20 years, I'm still always just is this summer? Is it not? But we're getting some proper hot days, which is really, really lovely.
Yeah.
And when I did spend a week in the US this summer, and then I was reminded about just how overly hot it is and how I've just gotten used to our English summers. And I was very appreciative when I got back that it's not constantly 35 degrees all of the time.
No. I mean, we've had a few weeks ago, it was 4 or 5 days of 31, 32, 34, 35. And I don't know about you, as you walked outside and going for a walk and you get 5 minutes down the road and you're going, no, I'm turning around and going back home. I was I'm not used to this. I don't know how people in America and other hot places do it. Yeah, but no, it's good. But make the most
good air conditioning, which we don't have here. But, that's better for the environment.
Exactly. So, yeah. Well, there's a booming industry in America. I know it's a huge one, but great. But Mildred, it's great to have you back. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today, you've been very active on your social media recently. And of course, you've written an article in The Stage regarding a certain thing that's slowly, I don't want to say taking over because I don't want it to. It's called AI, artificial intelligence. And and you've been publishing about it frequently and everything, and you've been a really good voice in saying to everybody, it's not here to replace you. It's here to benefit you. It processes things a little bit differently, but ultimately the human essence that is you and your stories and your just intelligence, your life experience, it's not here to replace you. So what discoveries have you found with AI?
Well, it's an ongoing journey. And I discover something new every day because it's so rapidly changing. I mean, I think when I first created my AI chatbot, AI Mildred, who is your AI talent agent, I did that as part of my journey when I was writing about it because I wanted to see, okay, what is everyone talking about? And that was ChatGPT 3. It's now, I think ChatGPT version 5 has just been upgraded. This is constantly changing. It's changing every day. And it's coming. It's here. In China, I mean, they're already using generative AI to make film and TV programs. So, it's something that we are going to have to face up to sooner rather than later. And so my attitude to all of this stuff is we need to engage with it, figure out how to use it as a tool. Otherwise, we're going to fall behind and get eaten alive, which is the last thing we want to happen.
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about it, then we don't have the chance to put in place guidelines and restrictions and talk about ethics. When is it okay to use AI? When isn't it? Where's our line? How do we make sure it works for us rather than it actually devaluing everything that we stand for? And I think it's really, really important to engage with it rather than look away. It's not happening. And it is uncomfortable. There are things that are happening with AI now that also make me deeply uncomfortable. So it's not all, roses and daisies.
No, it's not. It's really not. No, we were talking before we came on. There's I found a song recently on YouTube. It was like I saw it was like Ed Sheeran and gospel, and I thought Ed Sheeran and gospel. Okay, we'll give that a go. And I listened to it, and I thought it was really nice. And then and then I just watched the video, and the video looked a little bit
Mm,
different. It looked like it was like a computer game or something. And I
right.
thought, with Ed Sheeran's name on it, this isn't usually how he does it. Then I looked in the description and I realized it was all completely generated by AI.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was an AI created song, and I clicked off it immediately. And I just thought, and I was like, that scared me. That scared me.
Yeah.
I thought that is frightening. That's really frightening. So, in terms of like the arts and on set and stuff, film sets and stuff, like how is AI starting to be incorporated? What stories have you heard?
Well, we as agents are now very concerned about people having their likenesses scanned when
Hmm.
they're on set without their consent. And sometimes we have heard of people being brought on set. They have all their onboarding stuff, and they go, "Oh yeah, so we're just going to take you and just get you scanned," as if that's just a part of the process.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we are very sensitive about data in this day and age, and what you look like, the tone of your voice, like your that is personal data. And I think right now we aren't talking so much about, okay, what should be protected, what shouldn't, but like, these consent forms, if someone hands you a consent form, goes, do you want to be scanned? Definitely call your agent. Or if you don't have an agent, look at it, see if you can speak to equity before you sign it. And just, it's not going to be all okay because we haven't figured out how to protect these rights yet. So
Mm.
it may mean if they scan you and they have your image. Um, so the good thing is maybe like if you don't want to, you aren't available or can't come back for a reshoot, they can use your image. But if you do want to come back and reshoot a scene, then maybe that's taking something away from you.
Mm.
So I think we need to think really, really carefully about what we allow AI to have and the data that we allow them to have. So even though I'm a big fan of using AI as a tool, I also think we need to think very, very deeply about the consequences.
Mm. Yeah. How do we use it as a tool? How do we avoid it taking over?
Well, so everyone uses ChatGPT now. I mean, AI Mildred runs on ChatGPT 5,
Hmm.
but I think there are different ways of using it. We all know this, right? You can ask her a question, how do I pitch my pilot script? And she writes something for you. Level one, you copy and you paste it, and that's it. You're good to go. You don't even read it.
Mm.
She's obviously done a good job. Level two is, okay, what has she written? Is this right? Is this what I want to say? Are these the words I would use? Level three, you have a go and write it first. What do you want her to say?
Hmm.
What are the things that are really important to you? Then you ask her, how could you improve this? And you take that as a suggestion, not as, oh, no, this is definitely the way forward, copy paste, let's go. So as with everything, most tools, there's a lazy way to use it where you don't use your brain
Mm.
and you let her take over. Or there is, you genuinely use it as a tool. You use it to challenge yourself and challenge your thinking. How
Hmm.
could this be better?
Mm.
Is this what I actually meant to say? One of my favorite things to ask her is just go, um, is there anything I'm missing
Mm.
here? Argue against me, use her as devil's advocate.
Hmm.
And then I can explore holes in my thinking, maybe a concept I haven't thought about before, but really think actively about, okay, how do I solve this problem? How do I really think this through? Are there things I haven't considered? And AI is very good at helping you with that. But you have to be an active partner in all of this. Otherwise, yes, you've probably seen the studies, everyone's seen it. Oh, AI is making us all dumber.
Yeah, I think I saw something somewhere. I'm probably going to get this wrong, but it's on these sort of lines that as a result of ChatGPT, then humans are using 50% less of their brain power, or 50% less of their own thinking.
Mm.
It is not being, they're thinking nearly half, less than half the time than they did before ChatGPT even existed. So yeah, it is in a way becoming reliant, and people are using it. I heard a story that in schools now you can use ChatGPT in exams,
Can you?
something like that, or you can use it to help you figure out your answer. And some people are copy and pasting that into their exams to then submit to the exam boards and stuff. Or
Wow.
something really at that level, or it might be for coursework or something. But your people are using that in schools now for exams or for coursework and stuff. I'm thinking, surely there must be like you said, there's got to be a regulation here. With
Well, some
yeah,
schools now, I've seen this online where they have to now video themselves taking the exam. And there's now a censor if they move to a different browser or so it's become very extreme since my day when I was taking an exam. But yeah, I really think we need to be very conscious about how we use AI. And this includes like sensitivity of data that you're giving to it. You know, many artists right now are campaigning against OpenAI, using their books, using their material to train the AI. And I think this is fair enough because that is someone else's hard work that AI is now repurposing. So when you use, for example, ChatGPT, in the settings, there's an option where, for example, you can ask it not to learn from your conversation. So you're basically taking something that says, I do not consent for you to use my conversations or anything I upload here to further train the AI. And that's a personal choice everyone needs to make. But I think it's important to know that that exists.
yeah,
And
sure.
and also think about, people have been getting in trouble for uploading sensitive data to ChatGPT, and it's appeared elsewhere on the web. So just be very, very careful about understanding what's confidential and what you're putting into AI and putting out there. Like, it's a wonderful tool to do like deep research, really, like I said, challenge your thinking, really move forward, give you some ideas, some new turns of phrase. It's really great about looking up contract terms or legal terms, but use it carefully. Really think about, should I be uploading someone's passport here or a private contract? Have a think before you do any of this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
How you use it, it's so important.
Yeah, and there's a great quote from yourself where you say, "Let AI be the tool, you be the soul."
Yeah.
Because ultimately, and that's one thing I really want to get in today, is that the human essence and everything. This is something we'll talk about later, but AI can never get close to that. Well, I mean, it can try, but I think ultimately we have to remind ourselves in this landscape is that our human essence now is more important now than it ever has been before, and how important it is to keep telling stories and stories that, and even if it's just like a skit or something, just reclaim our human essence, because we don't want to lose it, because it makes us who we are. And I think that's what's been passed down since evolution, really. We've got to celebrate that. So let's talk about AI, Mildred, which I know from the Stage article you did in February of this year. So what made you want to take that step to AI, Mildred, and what have you discovered?
Well, really, it was a wish to just understand it better. And, as I get older, I'm aware that there's like all these new things popping up that maybe like is not easy for me, or I don't really understand. Like, I joined TikTok recently and started TikToking. And as often as I get engagement from the younger generation, I also get trolled quite a lot by being like, were you trying to do this? Well, I saw it and that wasn't great. And I was like, great, thank you, because I'm learning. And So I think it all came from a wish to know and understand and just go, okay, what can this do? What are its limits? And at the time I wrote that article, it was very early on, and sometimes it would look up the wrong stuff or um, cite the wrong information. And when you asked it for its sources, it'd go, "Oh, sorry, now I can't find the source." But
Funny that.
yeah, it keeps. It's now very much improved on that front, but I still double check everything. Um, when I ask it for, okay, what does the legislation say currently
Hmm.
about, for example, copyright on this? When it comes up with the legislation, I go back to Google, double check, make sure I can actually find that piece of legislation. It says exactly what ChatGPT says
Mm.
it does. Um, but yeah, I'm curious and I want to learn. And I feel like I was talking to John Byrne, who's another coach and stage columnist, very
Mm.
experienced agent as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he remembers when the internet was invented and casting went online. He was like, you know, we were talking about the fact that AI will probably be a similar level of change, if not greater.
Mm.
And if that's what's going to happen, then you have to understand how it works, how to use it. There's no replacement for the experience of that. And I feel like I would also be an irresponsible agent if I didn't get in there and really try to understand this. So I understand the threat to my clients, how they can use it, how we can use it to our advantage,
Mm.
and also what are the things we kind of need to watch out for. Again, back to the human thing. It's impossible to replace human experience. And so I needed to experience it, which is why I made AI Mildred.
Yeah, and I think in the thing you broke it down into four sections of this to but primarily this is where it can help you in
Yeah.
certain ways, and there are some benefits, and those were business development, contract negotiation, due diligence, and recruitment. And out of all of them, and you rated them all out of five, three of them, contracts, due diligence, and recruitment got 4 out of 5,
Yeah.
but business development got 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So how was that not as helpful as the others?
Well, again, it's back to like what AI can't do. AI can't have a relationship with people,
No.
and business development, more than half is about your relationships with people and how you connect, you develop and maintain relationships with people.
Mm.
And AI can't do that. Like it can go, okay, look at a client CV and pick out, okay, these three credits might be the most relevant. But I still have to make the phone call.
Mm.
I still have to send the email and find out, are you looking for this? Are those the right things? Like, I think those are the right things, but do you? And it's that conversation, that give and take, um, the relationship building, where you really, AI can't replace that at the moment. It also can't replace context or experience. Like my 10 years of experience at the desk, AI Mildred can't replicate that.
No.
So all of the stories that I have, the experiences I've had, all the different clients I've looked after, the different situations, the things that have gone well, that haven't gone well, maybe even like things that where I feel a sense of failure. AI is not going to be able to feel that and learn from that and understand that. And so, yeah, I think the overall conclusion I'm getting to while working with all of this is really we have to intensely celebrate and lean into these human experiences and what we can only do. We have to believe that we are more than a search engine, ChatGPT. Now, maybe this is naive, but I don't know what you have if you don't believe that. And I do believe, okay, maybe if AI takes over a large part of my administrative tasks in the future, maybe even like writing emails or drawing up lists, say that happens in 10 years.
Hmm.
I have to believe that the human connection, the relationship I have with my clients is more important to them than some lists, some sending of emails.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, we'll see. None of us know, but that's what I believe, and that's the thing I keep holding on to.
Yeah, I think it's important to sort of realize where, like, this is, it's almost like a limit, I think, for some things. Like, we've got to say, this is, we've got to put a cap on it now, because the
Mhm.
last thing we want is this learning more and more about this. And then, yeah, again, there's that phrase, which I don't like using today, but it's very true, unfortunately, take over. We don't want it to happen. We want to put a cap on this thing. And,
Well, we have to educate ourselves
yeah.
is the main thing. And I think this feeling of not feeling in control, that's only going to get worse if you don't know what you're dealing with. So, um, so yeah, that's why, like, I know lots of people are watching me do this and they're like, you're making it worse. You're like, you're giving it undue attention. Well, it's already here and we have to learn about it. If we don't educate ourselves, then we're also not equipped to go, what should the restrictions be?
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like, with its advantages, there's always like there's always two sides to everything, isn't it? And I think it's in more than ever to find that balancing act in everything else.
Mm,
Of course, humans on this side is more valuable now, like I said, than it ever has been before. And we'll make sure that, yeah, this is helpful, but
yeah.
we don't want it to go any further than where it needs to go. We need to keep it right there. But despite that, one thing that really did jump out at me was the contract negotiations. You gave it 4 out of 5.
Yes.
Okay, so how is it helpful for contracts?
Well, okay. Really, from my point of view, this bit of it is say you're an unrepresented actor or creative. You've got a contract. You're reading it. Some of it makes sense,
Hmm.
but some of it you're like, especially things like indemnity clauses
Hmm.
or warranty clause, you're like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
What am I warranting? So you like I would never recommend you take an entire contract and upload it and again, confidentiality
Yeah.
issues. But if there is like a sentence or a little paragraph that you're like, I just don't get what this means, you can go and go, AI Mildred, please explain to me this clause in plain English.
Mm.
And for example, with an indemnity clause, she'll go, oh, you are basically agreeing that you will not sue the other party for this. Um, and then she will say, it's a one-sided indemnity. You should consider a cross mutual, what we call it, mutual cross indemnity, where the
Yeah.
indemnity goes both ways, so you're equally protected. And sometimes, if you're unagented, you'd be like, but what's the benefit of that? What does that mean? And so you can ask her, what would happen if I didn't have a mutual cross indemnity? What risks am I laying myself open to?
Mm.
And she'll explain that to you. Can you even ask her, can you give me an example as an actor on set or as a creative on set if I didn't have this mutual cross indemnity? And for a creative, it might say, well, say you are a creative and the director overrides your work after you finish and gone, but then someone complains about it or sues the company, then the company go, oh well, actually that's you when it wasn't. And so I think that's really helpful because when a lot of times if you're unrepresented, you look at these contracts, you're like, what does indemnity mean?
Yeah.
What is I will indemnify what successors and assign, you know? And so I think that is really helpful and accessible. And yes, of course, you can always get a lawyer or a business affairs person to
Mm.
look at. I mean, I offer a business affairs service because I believe no one should have to
Oh, that's good.
negotiate a contract on their own. But the thing is, some people can't even afford that. So what I'm trying to do here with AI Mildred is just to go, look, if you absolutely have nothing, you're a drama school grad, this is your first job, you're unagented, you need to understand what you're signing.
Hmm.
AI Mildred can explain this to you and you go, okay, I understand that. You can ask for changes to your contract. You are basically therefore educated and you can advocate for yourself. And so I think that's where it's going to come in really useful. Yes, again, of course, as a human agent will be like, okay, in my past experience, this has come up X number of times. This is how much you should actually worry about it.
Mm.
And, AI can't do that
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. But it's better than nothing. Like without AI there, you just be stuck. You just have a lot of people I know who are unagented. They go, well, I have no choice. Have to do this job.
Yeah.
So either try to read it and don't understand it and sign it anyway, or then they go, oh, well, there's no way that I can deal with this, so I'm just going to sign it.
Mm. And of course, the last thing you want is then to sign something and go, look, I've got to work, I've got to do this. So you just sign it. And next thing you know, something happens and then you can't do anything about it. Because, well, you signed the contract, you agree to these terms, there's nothing you can do. So, and then you're caught in a sticky situation. And then obviously you want to read that contract as much as possible. But no, what you said there is absolutely right. Sometimes you read stuff and then you go, I have no idea what that means. But you just sign it anyway because it'd be fine. It'd be fine. And then next thing you know, you've signed something. You're not really aware of what you've agreed to in some ways, which is then doubly scary in some ways. But yeah. I mean, just very quickly, you said you offered a business like consulting service as well to people. Is that for just your clients or for anybody?
Well, so I have a business affairs service where if someone has a contract and they are unagented, and they need help with the contract, they can bring it to me and I can do a one-off for them. And I will, do a markup, explain to them anything they don't understand, then go through and either they can ask for changes or I can. That's fine too. And then if there's problems with the contract, I can enforce that for them or be on their side if something does go wrong. Because, I do think that it does feel grievously unfair that some people, they've had the luck to graduate from drama school and be signed by an agent and others don't. And as we both know, it's untrue that just because you don't have an agent, you won't work.
Yeah.
But that means if you don't have an agent and you don't have the knowledge yourself, it feels really unfair. It is unfair that you have to go in on a different footing and not understand exactly what you're walking into than if you had an agent who can explain it to you, check it for you, make sure it has all the things that it has to have. I mean, there will be times people bring me contracts and I'm like, whoa, this is not something I've dealt with before. So maybe it's not me. But, there are lots of people out there in the business who do offer this service. Lawyers do. There are a few ex-agents out there who do. So, but for me, it's about it's this thing that I keep banging on about, where it's like the transparency and the democratization of the business, where I think there are certain things that shouldn't be gatekept. Like, for example, what you should be looking for in a contract, what your rights are, stuff like that. I don't think that's a gatekeeping thing.
No, definitely not. So where can people find you for that? How do they get in contact with you regarding
You drop me a message on my website and then one of the people in my team will get back to you and we'll just assess your situation, see if it's something where we can help. I have thought about calling it like agent on call or like a duty agent, like in like the crime shows where it's just like, oh, if you don't have a solicitor, we'll call the duty solicitor. I do feel like there should be like a bunch of us who are like, we're the duty agents.
Yeah.
Like,
duty agent. Like, I don't know. Let's think of a name. Let's think of an exclusive name really quickly. See if we can. Wait, let me think. So DI Mildred or something. I don't know. My brain's just blank. Yeah, something like that. But
Yeah, the point is, like, I'm very passionate about this thing where I think there are certain things that everyone should have access to, like
Mm,
knowing how to advocate for yourself, knowing what your rights are. I think that stuff should be made available to everybody. So if I can help, I do try and help. There are times when I'm too busy. You know, last week I had to turn down a few because I just did not have capacity. But um, but yeah, and then in which case, if I don't have capacity, there are other people out there who offer these services. But also, if you absolutely have no money, AI Mildred can get you part of the way,
mm.
and Equity, WGGB, Musicians Union, you know, back to, they're all really, really helpful and have things online and people who can help you get the rest of the way.
Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, I want to talk about the other two in just a moment, due diligence and recruitment, but I just want to, just a little intermediary question here now. I was just thinking about this now. If you had, so this is all hypothetical, unfortunately, but if you, as Mildred, you had the power to remove AI completely from the face of the
Mm,
planet, so you just press a button, it's gone,
yeah,
never to exist again, what would you do?
I don't know. Because I think there are so many good things that AI brings. And I also think, maybe this is me being cynical, but I think if I pressed a button to take it away now, someone else would come up with it later. Because that's just how humanity works. We're always like innovating, but sometimes we innovate our way into complex situations. So I don't, honestly, I don't think that's an option. And um, I just, yeah, even if we were to take AI away, there would be something else that would crop up. And like I say, one of the things that AI might bring us is more transparency and democratization of knowledge and information. And same way where we have to lean into the human parts of what we're really good at, our superpowers as humans.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's also really important with something like AI to lean into what it's really good at and can do faster and better than we can.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's important because it just reminds me of the film Oppenheimer. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but
Yeah.
there's a quote right at the beginning where I'm going to paraphrase it, but what was the name of the Greek god who got chained to a rock for all eternity? Was it Zeus?
Hercules.
No, yeah, thank you. Was
Or
given
was
the
it Atlas?
no, I'm not sure. Bloody, my mind's gone blank. Hang on. Anyway, so one of the Greek gods got the power from the gods to destroy humanity, and as a result of that, he was chained to a rock and tortured forever, all that kind of thing. But the thing, the message of that film is that what humanity can do for each other, but also what, particularly in Oppenheimer's case, what what he did to what man is capable of doing to each other. Man is capable of destroying each other on an epic scale. And of course, we learned these lessons from history. And I think it was Churchill who said, those who don't learn from history are condemned to repeat it."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're in a really interesting position now. Now that we think about it, we're finding our way with AI. We're finding our way through it. So let's see. Let's see if there's like I said before. Let's keep the balance. Let's keep a healthy balance. I think more than anything.
So
And
I just asked AI Mildred who the Greek god chained to a rock was.
what did she
And
say?
she says, the Greek god chained to a rock is Prometheus. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was punished by Zeus for stealing fire from the gods and giving it to humanity. As punishment, he was bound to a rock where an eagle would eat his liver each day, only for it to regenerate overnight. That's very graphic.
Yes.
Um, and she says, are you thinking about this story in the context of a project, perhaps a play, film, or dance piece, or just out of curiosity? So she's asking questions as well. But no, I hear what you say, and I think AI is very similar to where in the developing of the atomic bomb,
Mm.
yes, it's moving science along. It means that it will end the war, but it also means devastating consequences for so many people. So it's always a double-edged sword whenever we progress.
Mm.
And yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, even if we were to switch off AI tomorrow, someone else would find a way to invent something similar. It's just, I mean, even if we were to switch it off in this country, I mean, Chinese government is heavily investing in AI at the moment. So it's just, and their population is so much bigger than ours.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think they've got laws over there or something. You're only allowed to have one kid per family or something because they've
Yeah,
got.
they're strict about that, but like, but they're investing in AI and the development of AI heavily. So, there you go.
Yeah, gosh, man, Prometheus. Yeah, of course, modern day Prometheus. Yes, thank you. But look at that. One question, and then suddenly, boom, all this information just there in the palm of your hand. I mean,
Yeah.
it's helpful. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, the one of my industry colleagues used it recently because they're like, oh, it's creatives sometimes in theater. They either get a straight royalty versus what's called a royalty pool.
Hmm.
And it's a very common thing where you just like, oh, well, what's better? And you have to like calculate it. And so he asked AI Mildred, how, please tell me the pros and cons of a straight royalty versus a royalty pool. She gave him a table. Tick boxes, pros and cons. I mean, it was really impressive. And, how I learned about it back in the day was Anthony Jones at United explained to me, we had a webinar at lunch. Went in great detail about how royalty pools are constructed versus a straight royalty. You could have a box office royalty, or you could have like a royalty off of profit, and you need to always check the definition of profit. And again, that's in a second what you get from AI, but I'll always remember the experience of having sat in the room when Anthony Jones explained in great detail his experiences with royalty versus royalty pool.
Yeah.
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're writing stuff down like all this like graphics and stuff, and you go, how do I get because I think is the agent cut still 20% or something, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, is it 20% or 15 now?
Commission.
Commission, yeah.
People charge anything from 10% to 15 to 20. I have also heard of 30, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it because, yeah. So I also review people's terms of businesses before they sign up with an agent. So sometimes people use my business affairs service to go, hey, can you look at my terms of business and make sure it's all okay?
Yeah.
I haven't seen 30 yet, but
Yeah, I hope not.
I have heard that this is a thing.
Yeah.
And but I don't think the Employment Agencies Act says how the number we should charge, just that we need to charge commission for services where it's about getting the client work.
Yeah. So, no, the reason I mentioned that is because like you say, we've sometimes sat down in a room writing it all out and figuring it all out in our brains, whereas now it's just the touch of a button. And
let's ask AI Mildred if she knows.
Yeah.
We go, what is the standard agency commission
2025?
She's thinking about it. Okay. So she says, in both the UK and the US, the standard agency commission is 10% of your gross earnings from the work the agent secures for you. In the UK, this is recognized across theater, film, and TV. Equity also notes that commission is only payable on the work the agent has directly secured unless you've agreed otherwise. In the US, SAG-AFTRA contracts also cap agency commission at 10%, and franchised agents must follow this. Some personal managers, not agents, may charge more, typically 15%, but managers are not the same as licensed agents and their role is broader. It's always worth checking the contract wording. some agents try to claim commission on self-sourced work or on residuals, which may or may not be standard depending on the deal you negotiate. So this is a good example of using your brain because I know that 10% is one of the commissions, standard commissions that are charged, but actually for actors, 12.5% is more common now in the UK, not in the US, but in the UK. And I've also seen 15%, especially for TV personalities.
Yeah.
And I've also seen agencies charge different rate for, like, for example, commercials versus film, TV, and theater. So this is where, AI is limited, right?
Mm.
It's not going to have known what I actually know, having worked for 10 years in a big agency.
Mm-hmm.
And also as a person, like, having reviewed lots of terms of businesses. And but yeah, I mean, she gets the principle, but it's not, you always have to double check.
Yeah. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, how did you create Mildred, AI Mildred? Is that you putting all the information in there, or is that the machine actually like getting stuff from the internet and putting it all together? So is it from the internet, or is that you actually putting all that information in?
It's a bit of both. So it's, I think I said this in my stage article, where you can get like a subscription to Chat GPT, where you can personalize your own GPT. And you can tell her things like, how she should speak, and give her knowledge and information, and tell her how she should do things. So you can give it instruction. And I played with it, and it's just like, she takes some instruction better than others. Like, make sure you always ask a follow-up question, for example, and she usually does. But yeah, for example, to train her on, like, my tone of voice, I gave her my viral Twitter feed on how to agent yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I was like, so learn this. This is how I talk. And then some of the unions also, like SAG-AFTRA has all of its contracts publicly available. A few equity ones are available, and some, like, writers' contract, standard WGGB contracts are publicly available. So the ones that are publicly available, I specifically said, please look at that. And I also said to it, here's the PMA code of conduct. Please learn it and understand it. And whenever you give advice, make sure it's in keeping with the code of conduct.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I was thinking, how did you create that? Because you go on Google now and you type in, like, I don't know, first question comes out, like, what's the name of that footballer who played for Arsenal in 1993 or something like that? And then it immediately goes an AI overview, literally in split seconds, and it's just there, bang. And of course, like, it's all stuff generated from the many millions, probably billions now, of Google searches across the world, and it's all just conveniently there in one block rectangle, just there for you. There's all the information you need. If you need any more, you just press a button and there's more. But it's very similar with what AI Mildred does as well. It's interesting to hear about, like, this is how I talk and this is how I speak, and therefore when people read AI Mildred, then they'll read, like, the responses, and they'll hear your voice on top of that as well, which I think is interesting. Just very quickly, before we get on to the next two bits of that article, you sign off the AI Mildred article by asking this question. So I'm going to ask you it now. Was the article written by you or Mildred AI?
I mean, what do you think the answer is?
I think it was you.
We shall see. Like, people have differing opinions on it. What was really funny is, like, so many people engaged with the article. And I got so many comments, both good and bad, but one that really cracked me up was someone was just like, definitely AI because it's really boring.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, bird.
Oh, that's gotta sting. Yeah.
That's gotta sting. But yeah, like, I think in the future, it is going to be harder and harder to tell the difference. And I think the next generation, it's going to be like, young people are going to be like, oh, grandma, you're totally talking to a bot, or that was totally AI, I can tell. And then us older people are going to be like, what, really?
Yeah,
I
I don't
can't
know
tell at all.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever used. I don't think I'll ever use one, but the Geminis that you get from Google now, where you can have a full-on like human conversation now with your phone, and it's like a human voice responding to you. It's not like Siri, where you go, "What's the weather like?" and she goes,
Yeah.
"This is it." But it's a full-on conversation you can have with your phone, and you
Oh,
and
I've
it.
used it to fix my heating system in my
Yeah.
17th century cottage, which is ancient,
Hmm.
with an ancient heating system. And I just said, Google Gemini, um, here's a picture of my heating system. How do I turn on central heating, please?
And was it helpful?
Yes. Like you need to press this button, which make no sense whatsoever. And then press that twice, and then you'll get these options. And I was like, how am I supposed to know this?
I don't know. God, I'm scared and impressed at the same time. It's gosh, find that cap, people, find that cap. The other one was due diligence, and this one was surprising. So you can type in like the creative team on your Mildred AI, and you can get like a background of their work. So essentially, you're getting like their CV and asking specific questions about track records and stuff. Were they nice to work with? Were they not so nice to work with? Was people have mixed reviews and that kind of thing? So that is helpful, yeah. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like
Again, double check though, because
yeah,
sometimes ChatGPT makes stuff up.
yes,
And so, they might say someone's not nice to work with, and you go, based on what? Oh,
yeah,
I just made that up. There's still like things like that where you're just like, okay, it can give you a start, but check it out. Always check the sources
mm,
and go, where did you get that? AI Mildred, come on. And then there's still no replacement for actually picking up the phone and talking to people
mm.
and
Was so
going,
nice to work with. No,
yeah,
thank you.
hey, how are you? You used to work with so and so. How was that? And the other benefit of that, of course, is then you make another connection, which AI cannot do for you. So,
No,
you know, this is the thing. I feel like, again, back to it being a tool. Sure, it can get you started and be like, you go, I've never heard of this director before. What have they done? What are they known for? And AI Mildred can like give you a nice little like briefing on that. But then again, the next step you must always do is go, what are the sources?
hmm
Make sure it come off a reputable source like IMDb Pro or the director's website, not some random
yeah.
fan website that has also happened before.
Oh,
And
really?
then you start going, okay, what are my human resources
Yeah,
that I have to complete this due diligence? Like, again, make it a tool. Don't like, I feel like we have responsibility in this, right? If AI is going to replace us, you have to actually do the replacing, right? If you go, okay, I've allowed you, AI Mildred, to replace me, that's good enough. I'm not going to check the sources and I'm just going to go into the meeting with what it's told me.
yeah,
You're doing it. You're letting it happen.
yeah. You're letting a
Don't
bot.
let it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're letting a bot sort of dictate your personality now, and I think
Yeah.
that's one thing we have to be very aware of, even in this moment right now, as we're speaking now, with the way things are. It's there to help. It's not there to take over. So don't allow it to do that. Um,
Always think critically. And I think that is the key thing
mm.
to keeping it a tool.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a really quick story. I won't say this actor's name, but I've heard that some people are talking about working with this guy, and they say, "Oh yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he's very intense. He's very dedicated to his craft. He's fantastic to work with. It's amazing." Whereas I spoke to someone who actually knew him, this guy, growing up from quite a young age, and then you hear, and then your human essence, you hear other stories. You connect with other fellow human beings with a heart and a blood supply and blood flow, and you talk to them and you go, like, you've worked with this guy before? And you go, yeah, I have. Is it? What was it? What was he like? And you go, no, no, honestly. And
Yeah.
then I remember having a chat with someone like who knew him from, yeah, like that young age. And I said to her, like, is it true that this is what I've heard? Is it true that as a person he's a bit of a knob? And without
Yeah.
hesitation, she went, yes. And it's like, okay, there you go.
Well, but even with humans, different people have different experiences.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And so, like, just like you wouldn't take AI as a single source of truth, you would do what you did, which is talk to multiple people. And even though sometimes you do get the situation where everyone you happen to speak to has one view, but then you go and you have a completely different experience.
Mm,
So I think, again, just like thinking critically and like being open and human about all this, we kind of, I think we really lose out if we assume anyone is just set in stone and that they can't change.
mm.
And we have to allow for that, but at the same time, also, forewarning ourselves and doing the research and being like preparing ourselves for what it might be.
Mm. And it's almost like that human journey, which is you meet someone initially and you think, oh, I don't really like this person. It's a weird energy. I don't
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah.
But then 6 months later, they could be one of your most trusted friends. It's
Yeah.
and there's that brilliant quote is that sometimes first impressions are often wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're right, but most of the time I think they're wrong. I'm reminded of a story that my previous English teacher, I won't say her name, but I heard a story that her husband, who she was with for over 40 years, the very first thing he said to her, they were at a party, and he walked straight up to her and said, "What are you doing, you silly bitch?" That was
Oh, that's horrible.
yeah, it's like, that's the first thing. And the next thing, it's like, but after that, they got to know each other better and they got married 40 years together and had kids.
I mean, there's no
No, you can't
accounting
make
for
this shit
sense of
up.
humor. Yeah. Yeah. It's just everyone has such different experiences
Yeah. And
and
that's
different experiences of people. And so, yeah, but this is the other reason I kind of feel like we can't rely on AI, or AI is not at a point where it can replace us, because it's not fundamentally the world is there's not one single source of truth.
exactly, exactly. And I feel like that's another thing AI can't do, isn't it? And then finally, we're going to get onto the human conversation in just a second. But the last thing was recruitment as well, which you gave another 4 out of 5. So it's refining CVs, it's help you write effective emails, and seeking advice on industry red flags, and stuff, which I think is actually, we've been very safe about the way that we talk about AI today, but I think that's actually a really helpful thing to see previous reports in red flags. So how is that helping? Which was that last one? Recruitment. How is helpful? How is that helpful?
Um, so sorry, remind me, and I'm thinking about recruitment like as recruiting clients, or like in terms of
Like,
actors and creatives getting jobs.
yeah. So yeah, through AI Mildred. So you're asking like, I think one thing you said, what is a nurturing agency I can apply to? It can break down how agencies
Yeah.
charge for their services, providing checklists, their own need, comparing like your client's needs to the agents, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and refining CVs as well, asking for advice on that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, interestingly, I tested this on a group of drama school students I was speaking to. And I was like, okay, so, how are you guys going to decide like what agencies you're applying to? Because I just done the whole spiel on like, it's really important to find an agent that works for you, not the agent that everyone says you should have, all of that stuff. And, um, and so one of the students contacted me. She was like, "Oh, look, this is amazing!" And she showed me like screenshots of the conversation she had with AI Mildred. And she was like, "Well, what are some like nurturing boutique agencies I should apply to?" Because she wasn't looking for a large agency straight out of graduating.
hmm
She really wanted something just smaller and a lot more focused on individual needs. So she had articulated this to AI Mildred. And AI Mildred actually came up with a list of the agencies I would think of. And I was like, actually, this is quite impressive. And we had a little joke on Instagram. And I was like, yes, AI Mildred has really good taste. Um, but again, she came back to me and she verified. She was like, "Do you think this is about right for what I'm looking for?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes. The thing you don't know about that fifth one is this that you might want to consider."
Mm,
you know, and um, and it's the combination of the human and the AI. I think that's really powerful there. And you know how sometimes you're like on your spotlight profile and you're like, should this go there? Or should like have chat? I don't know. Or what should I write in the about me? And you just get stuck and you like get writer's block and you have a blank.
mm,
So if you feel comfortable, you can go, hey, AI Mildred, here's my list of credits. How would you suggest I organize these to maximize my chances of getting film and TV auditions if that's what you're going for,
mhm.
or some regional theater work if that's what you're going for. And how would you suggest I might write about an about me to summarize this?
Mm,
And she will make suggestions. Some of them are good, some of them are pants.
mhm.
Sometimes she'll use a word where you're like, what's that? I don't understand the vocabulary you just used. No one would use that word. But it helps you when you're stuck. Because before AI Mildred, you would just go, oh gosh, I'll just procrastinate a bit further and come back to this later next week or never at all. But now you can go, okay, AI Mildred, give me some ideas to move me further along.
Mm. And it's great. Yeah, do you know, I'm reminded of you've watched Friends, right?
Love Friends.
Yeah. Do you
Yes.
remember this? Do you remember the one episode where Joey has to write sort of like a what's the word? Like a letter of recommendation to Chandler and Monica's adoption agency, and he discovers the thesaurus on the thing. That was probably like the dawn of all this stuff. You know, when you go on Word now and you type in a word you've used so many times, and the thesaurus gives you like all these alternatives. And then he's there by the computer, and Ross says to him, "Oh, hey man, what's going on?" "Yeah, I'm trying to write this thing. I have no idea what I'm going to write. I keep using the same words over and over again. I'm paraphrasing. I keep using all these words." And he's like, "Oh, okay. So why don't you use the thesaurus?" And he goes, "What did I just say?" and and it's like I think actually now it's like all these things have just been like creeping in some way or another. And we've just been a little bit, I think, oblivious to it. And now like Siri on the phones, you know, Alexa, I've got Alexa over there actually, you know, and just asking it questions like, can you do this? Can you do that? You know, it's all these things. But anyway, but back to your CV thing. You know, I think that's actually a really helpful tool for
Yeah.
people to have because like you say, we were always told go for United, go for Independent, go for Curtis Brown, yeah, they're brilliant agencies, there's no doubt, they've got fantastic clients, but would they work for you? And you know
Might not be
actually,
right for you.
yeah, and actually I want to ask you this. I mean, some people like are with the top agencies, like all these big dogs, etc., but it's true that a lot of them get pushed right down to the bottom.
Mm.
And sadly, they may wake up one morning and there's an email in their inbox saying, "Look, we're really, really sorry, but we're going to have to let you go." You know, so if anyone's in that situation now where they feel like the agent could be letting them go at any point, what would you say to them?
Well, what I say to everyone, which is kind of like just because you have an agent, it doesn't mean you stop agenting or advocating for yourself.
Hmm.
You should always keep pushing for yourself because you are responsible ultimately for your career, not your agent. So you need to make sure you are communicating the things that you are doing, your skills, your story. Because if you don't communicate that to your agent, how are they going to pitch you properly? And also, they can't be talking to everyone. You need to be out there walking the walk,
Mm.
talking the talk.
Walking the talk.
Yeah. So, and it's just, you do see sometimes people, they sign with an agent, they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
No, it's a constant job. And I think you're much less likely, in my opinion, to be caught out by these things because we all know the market moves in different directions. 1 second you're in, 1 second you're out. But what you need to be is on the front foot and going, if there is a right job for me, that the people casting it or booking that job know I'm there and understand that the skills fit that profile. And you have to do what I call putting your tube poster up constantly, whether you have an agent or not. All the shows do it. You'll see the tube poster for Moulin Rouge. If people see it, they may not buy a ticket, but if they don't know it's on, they definitely won't. And it's the same for as a creative or an actor in this industry. You have to constantly be going, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm up to. This is what I can offer you. And that doesn't stop when you have an agent. An agent amplifies what you are doing, but they can't change who you are. So that's why I really think, this is why I keep banging on about. You need to agent yourself. You need to advocate for yourself. Don't lose sight of where you're going. And whether you have an agent or not, it's such a minute part of it. And I think we hand over power in this industry to people, to gatekeepers, and we go, okay, that producer or that agent or that casting director didn't give me a chance. But what if we reframe it and we go, did I put my best foot forward? Did I tell them that I was the right person for the job?
Yeah. And, I think it's also important to, remember that the people on the other side of the desk, they want you to succeed as much as you do as well.
No one profits from people not getting jobs and failing. Everyone wants as many people to work as possible. We all want a thriving industry. So no one profits from going, aha, you didn't get that job. That's not how it works. If we could, we would love everyone to be able to work and be able to participate.
Being involved.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good segue on to, I think, another reel you've done, because we've talked a lot about AI today and extensively, and how we can maintain that balancing act and everything, and just be aware of what it can do and stuff. Wait, did I have any questions about that? Yeah, just one last thing before we move on to the human stuff. Is that, what's one thing that you personally would keep away from AI at all costs?
I don't think I'm ever going to be as extreme as at all costs. But, and maybe I'm being too subtle for this scale of thing, but a phenomenon. But I think it is just this blind handing over and delegating of thinking, obviously let's automate the things that should be automated, but things that require human insight, let's not lose our humanity over this. I mean, look at the whole Mr. Bates versus the post office scandal.
Yes.
They assumed that the computer system was always going to be right. That's an example of handing over your humanity. And I think that's the thing that we need to be really cautious of as AI progresses. I mean, that computer system wasn't even as advanced as what we've got today. And people were already going, here you go. It was definitely right. And then wrongfully incriminated a whole bunch of people, impacted the lives of their families. And people lost their lives. They lost their livelihoods. And I think that's a thing. I say that it should never happen, but then we all have to be awake to this and just constantly talking about it and just going, should it? Is this right? Thinking critically, challenging. So yeah, the thing I think should never happen is that we just blindly hand it over and just not challenge.
Yeah, that's a brilliant example. And that's very well put there as well. Mr. Bates versus the post office, I think it was a perfect example. It's a faulty machine, and now sadly it took one too many years for people to go, oh yeah, it was the machine after all. There are some people out there who still go, well, I don't think it really was. I think it was a human error. No, it was the machine. It was the technology. You fucked it up, okay? And you also fucked it up. A lot of other people's lives. Some of them, like you say, are sadly no longer here because of that.
Yeah, well, because the machines are only as good as the humans who make them.
Exactly.
So of course they're fallible. So I think we need to keep challenging and stay awake to all this stuff and just not, even if it's easy, don't let it take over. Always think critically. Is it right? Is
Mm,
this what I want it to be?
exactly. Yeah. Of course, a quick shout out to your client as well, Krupa Patani, who was also in that as well. And
Yeah,
it
it's
was,
really special.
yeah, Krupa's also been on here. We had a long talk about Mr. Bates versus the post office as well, and the play she was in at the time. And so, yeah, big shout out to Krupa. Hope you're well. Yeah, that was a great performance from her as well. She did a brilliant, brilliant job.
Incredible.
Yeah, but no, it's good. It's good that we have these sort of conversations to know where we are with things, and also use examples like that to say this is what's happened before. Let's
Yeah.
not, because the effect goes beyond. It goes beyond the computer screen. It goes
Yeah.
beyond that and everything. So anyway, let's talk. Oh, my Alexa just turned on, but it's listening in.
It
But
is.
oh no, no, it'll be fine. She'll shut up in a minute. But anyway, so let's talk human stuff now. We want to get this in now. This is another reel you did where you were in America recently, and you were stood outside the Ford's Theater in DC,
Mm,
and where a certain president, Abraham Lincoln, went to the theater one night and never made it home alive. So
yeah.
thanks to someone called John Wilkes Booth. But one thing that I loved about that reel is that I never heard, and forgive me if this sounds a little bit weird, but I've never heard agents talking about telling stories. And like the way you
Mm,
said, a good story is all about I've got some things written down here. You talked about building tension, creating contrasts, having meaningful drama, and meaningful drama is your friend, and use drama in the right way, and this is a quote here, tell the right story and you'll be remembered.
yeah.
So yeah, what is it about, how do we tell great stories, Mildred?
Oh, such a complicated question. You couldn't have given me an easy one. Like, I mean, it's funny. A lot of people think being an agent, you sit behind a desk and not very creative, but actually, it's one of the most creative things I have done. And to be an agent, you have to have vision. You have to be able to dream up stories for your clients' careers that maybe they haven't thought of themselves.
Mm,
You have to inspire them. And then there's, of course, the gentle art of influencing everyone else to see what you see.
mm,
And you have to tell a great story in that process. And I really think storytelling is an essential skill that we actually need and use in everyday life to advocate for ourselves.
mm,
Because if we can't say, look, this is what I'm experiencing, this is why it should matter to you too, we're missing out on connection and understanding. And it's really funny. It's like a lot of times you get actors, and if you hand them a side or a scene, they can like be someone else. They can like really story tell. But then you go, tell me about you. What's the story of you?
mm.
Or the dreaded, you go into those rare in-person meetings now after you've made it past the self-tape round. Director goes, oh, so tell us about yourself. And
Yeah.
then people clam up, and that's a really common thing. I work with people on in my coaching sessions and also with my clients. So I think it's a very human thing when you are asked directly like that. We all of a sudden lose our ability to go, oh gosh, what is it? What do I say? But really, we all have an innate sense of storytelling and a talent for storytelling as humans.
Mm,
And I think it's really leaning into that and knowing like what's important to me. What do I need to communicate to the person in front of me? What's the story that's going to strike this spark between us and help us connect?
yeah.
And yeah, I did a workshop on this recently for my superpower folks. I call it telling your story, but really it's a pitch yourself workshop. And that's what it is, pitching yourself. People are always like, oh, that sounds like sales and that sounds really icky. And like, that's, But good pitching or sales, it's not, you're not telling the person buy this, buy this, buy this. No one wants to hear that. You're going, this is something really special I've got here that I want you to see and understand and connect with me on. And so I think understanding how you engage with people and what they find interesting and how to talk to them about it is a real skill, and one that we should definitely talk about more and lean into. And, you know, some of the greatest agents I've met in my career, I mean, they tell a great story, and you want to listen to them. And I just think it's so the heart of what we do in this industry. And whether that's on stage or off, on set or off, stories are what captures us and keeps us engaged. So we need to keep, flexing that muscle and exercising it and figuring out how best to do this.
And yeah, I can't tell you. I think Andrew Garfield told the story that he went to see a play at the Royal Exchange, which is up in Manchester, and the play was simply I don't know what the play was, but it sounded like the premise was people just sitting around a campfire and just telling stories. And he said just the raw art of people just telling stories and creating worlds and scenarios for you just right there in front of you. And your imagination also helps as well, but allowing your imagination to become invested in something. And then he found himself, I sat there and I cried my eyes out because it was just this huge natural way of humans talking and telling stories more than anything.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you've ever had an experience where you've just been talking to someone and they've told this story and you can't stop laughing, or you just get so hit by this, like, wow, you've been through so much. I remember there was a time we had some work done on the house, actually. I can't remember the guy's name. So I think his name was Phil or something. It was like the main guy orchestrating the project. He had to leave as soon as it started, really, because he had to rush to hospital. He had a lot of health trouble. I think he got very ill, and sadly, I think he had cancer at the time. And but he survived. He persevered through it. He had all the therapy, everything he needed, and he came back. And I just simply asked him a question: so how have you been? How are you? And he just sat there and just told me his story. And he left, and I just felt like I'd just been hit by a train. Honestly, I was just like, wow, that guy's been through so much. And he wasn't dramatic about it. He just said, yeah, this is what I've been through.
Yeah.
That human
But you connected with him because of how he told the story.
Yeah.
And like it clearly made an impression because you're still thinking about it now.
It was just, he was so casual about talking about something that at one point, from what I heard anyway, looked like it was going to take him to the big man upstairs, but it didn't. He's still here with, as far as I know anyway, he's still here. He's still with us on this planet, having this human experience which we're all having, and just human storytelling is just, but just out of curiosity, was that something that you had planned to film outside of Ford's Theatre? Or was that just did you get to Ford's Theatre and you just go, quick, record me now? Was that something that was planned?
It's a combination. Like, I've been chewing on quite a while. This idea of like storytelling in everyday life and how we do it and what is the essence of it. And it's funny, and when I was preparing for the workshop, I was going to give, I was just like, well, there's just so many things I could fit into this workshop, but then it would be like 6 hours long. And there's so many different ways to do it. And in the end, I was just like, you know what? People just need a way to get started, and they have to try things out and see what works for them. There's so many thinkers out there who talk about this. And so for me, I was just like, okay, this is the essence. I put that in the workshop. But then I have all these other thoughts about storytelling and ways that you do it. And my thinking is always evolving. So Ford Theater was one thing I definitely wanted to do when I was in Washington, D.C. this summer. And I was like, you know what? This really connects with one of the things I'm thinking about. And so I just, I about 15 minutes before the tour started. I arrived early. And then I was like, oh, okay, let's see if I can get this down. If it works, great. If not, no worries. I took like I think I only took two takes. And the people who were in the shop across the street thought I was mad. And I was like, do you guys not have influencers around here? I would have thought that would have been a quite like hot DC thing,
Yeah,
political influencers.
it's a capital
But
city as well.
yeah, but no, they looked at me like I was mad, and I was just like, no, okay. And then I like watched it afterwards, and I was like, no, that was cool. And then I
That's
gotten a
fine.
bunch of cool like pictures when I
Yeah.
was inside. It honestly, if you do go to DC, it is one of the places that's like really great for us industry folk, because
Mm.
most of it is all about like politics and everything, which is a drama in itself and
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
But like Ford Theater, that whole experience is so cool. And you have the rangers from the National Park Service who
Mm.
tell you their own set of stories based
Mm.
on the research and stuff they've had working there. And you get to like walk through the theater as well, and then across the street to the house where he was kept before he finally died. And there's like, they lay out the time that it took to happen, and you can see also exactly how far away the box was from the stage and all of that stuff.
Wow.
And no, it was one of my favorite spots
Yeah.
when I went to DC.
Yeah. It's been, yeah. I've been to I went to DC a few years ago actually. Yeah. We saw the Lincoln Memorial and everything. God,
Yeah,
it's pretty spectacular. It's pretty epic. You feel like
yeah,
you stand there in front of him and you just feel like this big.
yeah.
Oh. But no, can you still see stuff there? Is it still an active theater, or is it more as like a tourist attraction now?
They do program stuff there.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think there was anything on when I went that week, but it's summer.
Yeah.
So, but yes, it is still a working theater, which is very cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures. They've the box looks like it hasn't changed at all since that night at all. I think no. I think can people sit in there, or is that completely off limits now?
They roped it off when I was there. I don't know if like there are separate tours where they go up there.
Mm,
But yeah, no,
yeah.
on the tour I was on, nope, you couldn't go inside the box.
Damn it. No, someone. I think I don't know anything about it, but was John Wilkes Booth actually allowed in that night? Who knows? Who knows?
He's an actor.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. He was a Confederate sympathizer as well, wasn't he? So.
Yeah, he was upset about Lincoln's anti-slavery policies, which obviously impacted the economics of the South.
Mhm.
So he felt very strongly about this,
Yeah.
to the point where he was prepared to assassinate him. But yeah, it's like theater around theater. It was very like meta in a way. And it
Yeah.
revolved around, you had the stagehand that he asked to hold the horse, who was also involved in the investigation afterwards.
Ooh.
And yeah, but you hardly, you know, it played out in full view of the public. That theater is not big.
Mm. AI can't do that, can it?
No.
No, it can't do that. Just one last thing. Again, funny on the human stuff is another thing you spoke about in the stage recently as well, which was your agent doing enough for you, and making sure that you have a healthy relationship where it's not dictatorial, it's not completely lazy. You want to find the right, again, that word again, balance. You find the right
Yeah.
balance. So how do you find the right balance with your clients instead of like without being like too extreme one way or the other?
I think communication is like the key thing. Because if
Mm,
you don't talk to each other, you're not going to know where the boundaries are, what your preferences are, what your like strengths are. Because some agents are stronger at some things and not at others, and it's good to know like what your agent's preferences are and what they're really good at doing, and like saving your precious time with them for those things. And I do, it's so funny, like, you do hear about the people who, call their agent every day and hassle them. But the thing that we don't talk about are the people who just like, they don't want to be any trouble, right? And so they're like, oh, not going to call my agent. I'm going to be really good and really silent. That doesn't work either. Because then if we don't hear from you, we don't know what's going on with you.
Mm.
We can't get to know you, so we're a lot less good at pitching you. We don't know your preferences. So like we might pitch you for something, audition might come in and you're like, oh, well, that's not quite right, but I won't say anything. How are we going to learn if you don't tell us? And so, yeah, I think it's really important to talk to your agent and just, yeah, I think a lot of people just, they think they're being helpful by being like, I'm not any trouble. No,
No.
make sure you talk to us. And sure, make sure you value your agent's time. Make sure you go, okay, if they're not the sort of people who you call up for a chat, some agents are, some agents aren't, then respect that. Make sure you go, hi, the reason I'm calling is because I think this role is out on submission. I have a few like tapes you haven't seen that might be good for that. Do you want me to send those over? And they can say yes or no. And then again, you learn from that conversation, right?
Mm.
So yeah, I think this is the most underrated and most boring piece of advice I've ever given, which is talk and communicate with your agent. Don't assume that they'll know what's best for you.
Mm.
And I think sometimes, back to the thing where sometimes we just hand away our own power. We assume someone else knows better what we want. But actually, we're the expert in ourselves. And you have to communicate and you go, this is what I need. This is what I prefer, or this is what I even want.
Mm.
I have had experiences in the past, especially like when I was younger, like assistant or associate agent, I was helping manage an older agent's list or something.
Mm.
And there were clients where literally I would get in touch with them. I would email them and be like, look, the production has asked if you want a car tomorrow, if you're going to get yourself there, or, just basically, what do you prefer? And then sometimes you get some people where they would just never respond. And so then what happens is like people will have to assume. And then a lot of times then I get a phone call after, well, this wasn't right. Well, but you didn't tell us when you were asked and, we didn't know. So you have to communicate and you just go, yeah, I work better if I do this. In this sort of working environment, look, we're not going to get everything. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. But if we don't communicate our needs and wants, we're definitely not getting them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, in some corporates, no. I saw in a production company, people were in their signature, they had like their personal user guides of how to work with me. Like I prefer phone communication, or I prefer, I'm dyslexic. So, very clear sentences, short work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Apologies if I misspell, I'm not intentional. I'm not being disrespectful,
Yeah.
and it's like I loved it because it's like a proactive communicating of these are my needs. These are my limitations. I'm communicating this to you in advance, so that you know how to interact with me and we can get to the good connection part sooner.
Yeah. And I think that's I had a question here. So I think this is probably asking you actually. What can clients do to make it, well, I think this might be, you've probably answered this already, but I was going to ask, well, how can they make it easier for their agents to push them?
Yeah, I think it's the communicating thing, but like the more that you can information you can arm us with,
Mm-hmm.
the better. I think sometimes people are just like, hey, can you push me for this? And you're like, is there something specific you wanted me to bring to casting's attention? Oh, well, I don't know. I just really want to be seen for it. Like, not helpful. Helpful would be, I would really love to be seen for this. I know the director's work. I actually worked with the assistant on this other thing that they might remember me from. But then I also did this similar piece of work, similar character. Here's a clip. And then as an agent, I can go, okay, which one of these pieces of information do I use that's most relevant? Does the casting director want to see this? Would they like to know this piece of information? But then it gives me choices, because a casting director also doesn't want to hear from me like, hey, are you going to see this person yet? That's just annoying.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just got a few more things left for you, Mildred, and then we'll sort of finish up. So I think this is slightly off topic, but I know last time we talked about how people can get in touch with you via representation, or indeed any agents for representation for that matter. So since our conversation last year, do you feel like anything's changed about the way actors should approach agents for representation, like even like the smallest things, or is it still pretty much the same?
I think that hasn't changed. I mean, Sam, who works with me, did a wonderful webinar, which we have available, called Approaching Agents. And he just like breaks down really, like, these are the things they need to know. These are the things you shouldn't worry about. Because I know you all like worry about this stuff a lot. And I think the error is to like worry too much, when really there's a basic set of things that we need to know. You know, we need to see your spotlight link. We need to know a little bit about you. We'd like to know a little bit about like what type of work you would like to do, what type of person you're to work with. You know, just keep it really simple. And also remember that when you're writing to an agent, you just need to tell them enough to get a meeting. You're not trying to like describe the entire relationship you're going to have with them. That comes as you get to know each other. So you don't need to do everything in that one like cover email. But yeah, if you didn't go to the webinar, I would really suggest it. Sam's been working with me for, I think, like 8 years now, and so he really knows his stuff. He's also been on your side of the table. He's just finished 2 years at Phantom of the Opera. Wow. So he really, really knows his stuff. And he has, like, having worked on both sides of the desk, I think he has a really unique perspective where it's just like, actually, most people, they're making it too hard. Stop making it so hard.
Yeah, what was his surname, Sam?
Houghton, Haughton. He works with me on many things. He has come on as my agency assistant. He's my coaching coordinator. He is basically Mildred number 2.
Nice one. Sam Houghton, yeah?
Houghton, yeah.
Houghton.
Yeah. Also GSA grad.
Is he?
Mm.
Wow, this GSA family. We're a big family, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good place. So I suppose I just got the final few questions now for you, Mildred. Thank you again for being so generous with your time today. I really appreciate it. So I suppose, again, last time we talked, you just left United and you were embarking on this solo mission on your own, being a smaller client base, doing more things in your own way. So yeah, how's it been this last year and a half?
I mean, what a time to like leave a big agency. Like, we've had so much turbulence, but look, I think it's the right time because, like, since I started my business, and just doing things like disaggregating what a big agency usually do, like, that is right for some people, but for a lot of people, it isn't. Like, maybe you only need me to explain a deal to you. Maybe you actually, what you want is the personal development and the career coaching bit of it. You don't actually need someone to do your deals because they're equity contracts. And you're fine with that. You know, so I think what's been really working for me is kind of this disaggregating all of what agents offer, which kind of for me is like on one side, the pastoral care, which is all of your like, what are you going to do with your career? How do you want
Where
to
do you
do
see
this
yourself?
thing? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Those kind of big questions. And then on the other hand, like kind of the more gritty, like negotiating deals and advocating for you, contractual negotiations, that sort of stuff. And like, um, it's a, and I just feel like what's been astonishing, I've been so appreciative and grateful, is like people have been coming and being like, look, no, this is really useful. That this is really helpful. And now, yes, I have my agency clients, but I also now have a community of coaching clients that I'm just as invested in, like the outcome of their careers. And some of them have made huge strides in changing what they thought was an industry that was the power stacked against them, but taking back their power and going, this is what I can do and this is how I'm going to show up,
Yeah.
has produced real results.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of it. And yeah, in the last 6 months, we've also started actually a formal community called the Superpower Community. And people can join. It's £12 a month. And basically we host like a monthly power hour where we get together to help each other think about these tough issues and move ourselves a bit forward, because we all know it's really easy to get together and just go, oh, it's really hard right now. I don't know what to do. And then you end up just like wallowing and not doing anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but this is a space where we come together and go, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to make a difference and move ourselves forward? And it's really lovely. And so we have the monthly chat, which Sam and I facilitate. And then we also have our Superpower WhatsApp group, and people like are on I love it. Sometimes I send some like industry news. Sometimes people share like, oh, I'm writing this casting director email. Does this feel okay? Or they're looking for a self-tape buddy. They go on the self-tape subgroup. Anyone free to like tape with me? So yeah, it's small but growing, but it's the thing that I do where I'm like, what is something I can do where we can all as a community come together and help each other move forward? So that's just started. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of like the people who are in it as well, who have really, watching each other grow, cheering each other on. I think that's so important. And when things get hard and competitive, you need to kind of, find your people, find your tribe. And it's like we all have to hunker down now and stick to our values and really understand what we're here for.
And I think, we need that more than anything, I think, right now, just to know that, again, something AI can't do, which is just have that bond, that connection, and that reassurance, and supporting each other in this business. I've realized is so important. Just a simple message to say congrats on your play at the Fringe recently. Can I get a ticket? Or congrats on your play doing the rounds in the North, or congrats on your West End debut and stuff like that. A tiny little thing, but the impact is just huge. And I feel like, this is, I believe in karma and stuff. And I feel like if you put good stuff out there or great stuff out there, then great things will happen to you as a result,
Absolutely. And just because someone else succeeds doesn't mean that you won't. We're all running different races.
Exactly.
And it's also possible to be like, that thing where it's like, I'm happy for you, but sad for me. That's also possible. We're human, not AI. And so we can really accept that complexity. And I think there should be space for all of that. My friend got a job that we were both up for. I'm sad for me, happy for you,
Yeah, where what goes around comes around, and everything in between. So, always keep the support, and also look after yourself as well. And it's just, underrated and a bit of a cliche now, but it's absolutely true. It's
Yeah.
absolutely true. You got to just stay focused on it. And yeah, there's a big shout out to your stuff, your Power Hour support sessions, which are £12 a month, and you access them via Patreon as well. So, any guys, if you're looking for more information on that, it's also online. It's also on Mildred's Instagram for various links, etc. So go and check it out and sign up now. So. And of course, that's a big question. I know we also talked about last time, superpowers and stuff. And this is a question I thought about just after we finished last time, which I was dying to ask you. But now I can, because now you're here. What's your superpower, Mildred?
It's I always talk about it as like it's kind of like three things. There are, and it all boils down to where I think being an Asian has always been my calling and the perfect job for me.
Mm,
And, because I think my superpowers are firstly understanding what's at stake in a decision, all the
mm,
options, and being able to see the way forward clearly and helping guide someone to the best way for them.
mm,
But also, I have an ability to see people for who they are, but also who they can be. And I love envisioning for people, oh gosh, seeing their superpowers and being like, gosh, you know what you could do with this? This is amazing. And sometimes they don't yet see it for themselves, but it's really powerful when they do.
mm,
And then thirdly, I think I'm a bit of a troublemaker, a fire starter, really. I like things to happen. So if there's
yeah,
not a solution in place, I'm going to start it. I'm going
yeah,
to try and start something and make it happen.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
that's exactly why the community came about, because I was like, why is there nothing around like this? If you are trained in therapy, you have therapy supervision. If you are a coach, you have like coaching supervision with a bunch of experienced coaches. Doctors, they have that. Why don't we have something like that where it's like a professional support group that helps you move forward and be practical and talks about real issues? So I was just like, okay, that doesn't exist in the way that I envision it. So I'm going to start it. And what happens? And I am okay with it. Like, whatever happens. If this is a need that people have and they see it the same way I do, fantastic.
Mm.
If not, okay, I will move on to my next idea.
We just keep moving forward. Keep moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah. It's like you're the one who lights the match. Or you're,
Yes.
or to misquote Billy Joel, you did start the fire, more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a running joke with two of my friends where I did actually last summer start a fire in my friend's apartment with the
Uh,
help of this other friend. But yes, it like luckily the fire department came. It was fine. There was no damage done, but yeah, that has been a running joke since
oh
then.
no. I've just added I've just added fuel to that fire. Hey.
Oh dear.
I know.
Woo.
I know. That's bad, I know. What did you do? What happened?
Oh, I left a wooden tray in the oven and the other friend turned it on,
Oh, I see.
not knowing it was in there.
Oh well, it's running jokes. It's all good at the end of
Oh,
the day, isn't it? But Mildred, thank you so much for today. This has been great. I've just got one final question for you today, which is the closing question for return guests. Slightly different this time. What makes you happy?
oh my God. Animals, particularly my two little dogs,
Mhm.
Mochi and Bean Sprout, like watching them like prance around in the sunshine and like in my garden is like one of the best things. Like if you're having a bad day, like watching those two like zoom around, it's the best thing. It makes me so happy. And I'm like, oh, I can give two little dogs the best life. Everyone who knows me knows they come with me everywhere. Many a producer and casting director have met these two creatures. They have also featured as special guests at the Spotlight Christmas party when I had childcare fail. So But yeah, no, my dogs are like the light of my life, and they
Yeah.
make me so happy.
Yeah, you should represent them. They should get like a walk-on part for films and stuff.
I don't know if I'm quite ready to be like stage mommy yet, as well as the other things I do. But what about you? What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Oh,
Yes.
gosh. Just being an actor, Shakespeare, this podcast. I just like talking to people, like great agents like yourself, and like people from all across the business. Um, Acting, of course, writing. It's just being in nature, having great
Yeah.
conversations. Dogs as well. I love dogs. Yeah, it's just the little things.
It
Just
is the little
yeah,
things. I think sometimes we are so fixated in this industry on like that award or getting that job or like finishing this thing. But there's always going to be something else, right?
yeah,
And it's like what the one of the great coaches, Marshall Goldsmith, says, you know, your only chance to be happy is now. It's not in the future, it's not in the past. What are you going to do now to
mm,
make yourself happy?
right.
And I think that's the most important question that we can ask ourselves.
Exactly. And particularly in these times and just in the growth journey of being a creative, whether you're a writer, actor, director, whatever it is, just now make yourself happy. And there's always more opportunities. You can't see them yet, but they're in the
Yeah,
shadows waiting for you. And that's great.
exactly.
That's brilliant. Mildred, thank you. This has been absolutely fantastic. And it's been a pleasure to speak to you again. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have more things to talk about in the future. But thank you for your reassure. I suppose for your reassurances that AI is still it is part of us now, but it's not everything. And it's so nice to talk about human stuff as well and give me that reassurance that yeah, there'll always be things, no matter how advanced it gets, that it can never take away from us. And it's like our essence, our human nature, our stories, our personalities, and that's something that we can. I know I'll take forward with a big sense of relief, knowing that that will always be in me, that will always be in you, and in everyone that we meet. And amen to that. So yeah, but no, thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy talking to you again, and I'm sure we'll continue having more conversations like this in the future. And it's been great. If you just hang on, I'll finish the recording. We'll have a debrief, then you can shoot back off. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast. I'll be back very, very soon. And Mildred Yuan, thank you so much.
Thank you.